leadership in self-care in nonprofits, your own oxygen mask first. It's a very challenging topic, I know, because very often we think like, why is self-care so important for a leader? Shouldn't a leader be actually the person who's taking care of everyone else and taking care of the work instead of themselves, right? Very often when we talk about self-care, at least to me, to be honest, it feels very often that it's all about other people telling me to say no more often, other people telling me to not do certain things and to stop doing this or that. And basically, when I hear that, I tune out because I think it's too difficult to say no, right? Because if you're working in a nonprofit, then the work never seems to be done, and there's always more to do, and people who are counting on you, and it's super important. So it just doesn't feel right to say no to that, right? So, what helped me is to make self care about saying yes, about saying yes to some things. And because saying yes is very easy, it's much easier than saying no, right? Doesn't mean that it's a trick, and it doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy to say yes, right? And I know that, and I also know that you can do it, and it's going to help you because it helped me and I could do it. If I can, so can you. I'm sure of that. So let's get started. And now don't get out your calendar. We're not going to do time blocking just yet. We're not going to schedule anything yet. We're not going to plan anything yet, because before we can plan anything, we need to be very clear on what are you going to say yes to? What is important to you? What matters to you? And in order to know that, it helps me, and I would invite you to do the same, to visualize your perfect dream life and to look at what does it look like? What are people? What are things? What are activities that are in my perfect dream life if everything would be the way that I want it to be? And of course, since you're in the nonprofit world, I'm sure there's gonna be something related to your nonprofit in your perfect dream life. I'm sure of it. It is in mine. In my perfect dream life, there is work, there are nonprofits, there are things that I'm doing now that are in my perfect dream life. And that's okay. But for today, I want to invite you to focus on the other things, to zoom in on other things that are not related to your nonprofit work, to look at the other activities and people and things in your perfect dream life, and to really zoom in on what they look like. I'm Suzanne Bakker, and I'm interested in learning what is important to you in your perfect dream life. I will tell you about my oxygen mask in a moment, but first I want to introduce myself. I'm Suzanne Bakker, and I'm a nonprofit operations strategist. And I talk a lot in this channel about things like finance, admin, HR, contracting, project design, fundraising, management, all the things that a lot of people find boring and things that I happen to love. If you're interested in stories about such nonprofit operations topics, jump into the description below and click on the link to subscribe to my newsletter so you can receive my stories on Mondays and Thursdays. Let's go back to your perfect dream life. You've zoomed in on people and activities and things that are important to you in your perfect dream life, right? So take a moment to think about those and think about where are they now in your day-to-day today life. Is there space for them? Are you giving them enough attention, enough as you would like to? Are you allowing yourself to get air from them? To be honest, when I asked myself that question a while ago, the answer was no. There wasn't enough space for those people and activities in my today life at that time. I'm really interested in hearing your answer to that question. Where are those important people and activities and things in your perfect dream life? Where are they today in your today life? And how would you feel if there would be more space for them in your today life? Think about that for a moment. When I asked myself that question, I realized that I would feel much better, much happier, much more energetic if there would be more of those activities and people in my today life, in my day-to-day today life, not in my next week life, not in my next month life, not in my next year life, not in my dream life, but in my today life, right? So that's exactly what we're now going to do. Now you're going to schedule and block time to make sure that you have time for those activities and people in your day-to-day today life. And my ninja tip here for you is talk to other people about that. So even if it's something that you like to do on your own, tell somebody else that you're actually going to do that, that you're planning to do that. If it's about spending time with somebody that you love or like, a friend or a partner, tell them about it and say, hey, I would like to spend more time together. I would like to start by doing something fun together, maybe next week, Tuesday. And I was thinking we could do this or that. What do you think? Are you available? Shall we make it a date? Shall we commit to this? Shall we plan it? Shall we block the time in our calendars for that? And keep in mind that it doesn't need to be something spectacular, right? So when I'm planning a date with my husband like that, it can be something as very simple as going for a walk on the beach. It could be going on a guided walk to see street art in our city. It could be going bowling. It could be going to a garden center and to buy plants for spring in our garden. It doesn't have to be something super fancy, special, difficult to plan, expensive, or whatever, right? It should be something that gives you air, something that gives space to what is valuable for you. And for me, spending 2 hours with my husband like that, when we're having fun, when we're laughing, is super valuable for me because I get energized from that. I feel more happy after that, even if it's just 2 hours, right? And other people may think that's a very boring life with those kind of exciting dates. But for me, it is what I need, right? That's what this is about. It is what I need. It's my oxygen mask. I get air from that. That's why I planned it. So the next level of self-care is actually looking at your calendar for the year. Yes, so we all know in nonprofits that there are busy periods in the year, like when you have your annual audit, or maybe when you have a project proposal deadline, when you have an important fundraising event, or an external evaluation of a key project. We all know that those are busy periods and stressful periods and combined even, right? And so in order to take care of ourselves, it's good to acknowledge that beforehand and to say, okay, I know I'm gonna have a busy period, a stressful period, and I can do some things to make it easier by having all my operations in good order. But at some point, it's just gonna be stressful and busy, right? There's no way around that really, or not always. So in that case, just accept it and say, okay, I'm going to plan around that. I'm going to mark my calendar before the start of such a period and at the end of such a period. And maybe if it's a longer period, in the middle too. And I'm going to schedule some oxygen mask activities for those moments, right? And so I would like to invite you to look at your calendar and to mark those periods and to mark time before and after and maybe in the middle. And then to make a list of really simple activities from your perfect dream life, and to see how you can plan them in your calendar around those periods. So, for example, before a busy period, I always make sure that I read a book, a novel, so that I immerse myself in a different world, in the life of somebody totally different, and I refresh my brain that way. Or if I know that I'm having a busy week ahead or a busy day ahead, I might just go out of the house, walk to the beach, and look at the sea for 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be a full day program to refresh myself. It can be just 15 minutes looking at the sea, feeling at peace, going home and getting started. For many years, when I was making an annual financial statement, and then before the annual audit would start, I would plan to jump into the sea for a quick swim, just to mark the end of one period, creation of the annual financial statement, and the start of the other busy period, the annual audit, right? And I stopped that when I had to do this so early in the year in February that the sea was a little bit too cold for me to do that. And then I, of course, figured out something else to do. Yeah, so think about those things that you can do to mark a fresh start and to a recuperation after the end of a busy and stressful period. So tell me in the comments, what are things that you can do to energize before and to re-energize during or after busy and stressful periods. And maybe all of this sounds to you like it's a luxury, right? Who has time for all this, for even just sitting down and planning all of this and then doing it, right? And we go back to that question, like, why is self-care important for a leader? And shouldn't a leader actually care more for the team, for the people and the work than themselves? So now let's go back to the oxygen mask, right? Imagine that we're on an airplane and it's the pilot's responsibility to make sure that we get safe from A to B, right? He is the leader or she is the leader in the plane, right? And so what they will do to take care of us, that we land safely in our destination, is that they're going to make sure that they're well prepared and that they are fresh and energetic, so they're well rested and they're feeling good physically and mentally, and ready to fly that plane safely from A to B, right? That's their responsibility, that's what they're doing, and that's how they are taking care of us. And in case of an emergency, they will, of course, grab their oxygen mask first, instead of going around and asking us, would you like my oxygen mask? No, they're going to take care of their oxygen mask first, because if they don't, we're all doomed, right? They need to take care of themselves first in order to take the best care of us. And as a nonprofit leader, we are in the same position, right? We need to take care of ourselves first. We need to be in good shape, physically, mentally. We need to be ready for anything that nonprofit life throws at us, so that we can actually guide our team and our community through difficult times. So that's why you need to always be clear about what is for you an oxygen mask. Yeah, your oxygen mask are all those activities, people and things from your perfect dream life that are having their place in your today life, and for which you are making space in your today life and planning ahead around busy and stressful times. Make sure that you are always able to see and feel in your mind and in your heart what it is that you want to make space for in your life, and then find a way to do that in your day-to-day life, and have that even maybe at the start as a checklist in your phone, ready and at hand to use in case you need it. That's my tip for self-care in a leader, in a nonprofit, and what is your own oxygen mask. If you want to talk more about managing your nonprofit, feel free to subscribe to this channel so you get a notification whenever a new video drops. And I would like to see you in my next video, which is about money mindset in nonprofits. Bye for now.